Welcome to Vivid Verses. If our words resonate with you, please subscribe, tap the like, and share your thoughts and your feelings in the comments. Now let's begin. I view relationships through the same lens. You look for the stress fractures. You check the load-bearing walls. Rachel and I have been cohabitating for 3 years. The foundation seemed stable enough. We split the finances 60/40 based on income. We rotated household logistics on a weekly roster, and we had a 5-year plan for equity accumulation. It was functional. Then she wanted the dog. She didn't want a dog, really. She wanted the idea of a dog. She wanted the greeting at the door and the Instagram photos of hiking in the fall. She didn't want the animal. I told her this. We sat at the kitchen island, the spreadsheet open. "It's a Weimaraner, Rachel," I said. "They are hunting dogs. High prey drive, high separation anxiety, boundless energy. They aren't pets. They're employees that need a job. They're beautiful," she said. "And I work from home 3 days a week. I can handle it. It's not about time. It's about will," I said. "You have to be more stubborn than the dog. If you aren't, he runs the house." She pushed for it. She leveraged the emotional support angle. I ran a risk assessment. If I said no, I was controlling. If I said yes, I was taking on a liability. I agreed, but I drafted the terms. I handled the discipline, the crate training, and the food protocols. She handles the socialization and the energy burn. We shook on it. We bought Otto from a breeder in Ohio. $700 for the deposit, another $1,200 on delivery. For the first 4 weeks, the system worked. I treated Otto like a new hire on a job site. Clear instructions, immediate feedback. I woke up at 5 o'clock. I took him out. He sat before he went through the door. He sat before he ate. He learned place. He learned that my space was my space. The dog was smart. He was essentially a biological machine looking for inputs. I gave him binary inputs, yes or no. He thrived. He stopped nipping. He slept in his crate without whining. I thought we had stabilized the variable. Then came the Tuesday of the couch. It was a beige sectional, a loosely woven fabric that cost more than my first car. We were watching a documentary. I was reviewing the steel specs for the Midtown project on my tablet. Otto had been exercised. He was fed. He was pacing. This was the testing phase. He walked up to the chaise, looked at me, and put a single paw on the cushion. I didn't yell. Volume signals loss of control. I made eye contact. Off. Otto froze. He knew the command. He was calculating the cost-benefit analysis. The hesitation is the critical juncture. It's where the dog decides if the leadership is real or performative. Then Rachel patted the cushion. "Oh, let him up," she cooed. Her voice dropped into that saccharine register she used when she wanted to avoid conflict. "Don't be so mean, Liam. Look at his face. He just wants to cuddle." The air in the room changed. I looked at the dog. He looked at Rachel, then back at me. He had 2 sets of data. One said boundary. The other said access granted. The second source offered a dopamine reward, comfort/affection. The first source offered nothing but maintenance of order. Otto jumped up. He curled into her side. She scratched his ears, looking at me with a defiant, playful pout. "See," she said. "He's fine." I set my tablet down. I needed to explain the structural failure she had just initiated. "Rachel," I said, "we have a protocol. No furniture. It's just this once. You're so rigid. He's a puppy. He needs affection. He gets affection when he's on the floor. When you countermand the off order, you tell him that my commands are optional. If my commands are optional, I cannot control the animal." "God, you make everything sound like a war." She laughed, stroking Otto's flank. The dog watched me, his eyes heavy. He knew he had won. "Relax. I'm here. I'll watch him." "It's not about watching him. It's about hierarchy." She rolled her eyes. "Fine. I'm higher on the hierarchy tonight. I outrank you. He stays." I looked at the situation. She was using the dog to win a micro battle for dominance in the relationship. She wanted to be the good cop, which necessitated me being the bad cop. It was a cheap tactic. It prioritized her immediate feeling of benevolence over the long-term stability of the household. Okay, I said. She paused, expecting a fight. Okay, if you undermine the training, you accept the liability. You just voided my authority. I can't enforce rules you actively dismantle. You are now the primary handler. Don't be dramatic. I'm being precise. I am stepping down from the training role. He's your dog now. I stood up, walked to the kitchen, and poured a glass of water. I wasn't angry. I was recalibrating. I had been relieved of duty. The degradation was slow at first, which is why she didn't panic immediately. The first week was the honeymoon phase of her victory. She let him on the couch every night. Otto was affectionate. He slept on her legs. She felt vindicated. She told her friends on the phone that I was being weird about the dog, but that Otto was an angel. I stopped the morning drills. I stopped the hand feeding. I put the bowl down and walked away. I stopped the sit at the door. When I took him out to pee, I was silent. I was a mechanism for opening the door, nothing else. By day 10, the behavioral drift began. We were eating dinner. Otto approached the table. He nudged Rachel's elbow. "No, Otto," she said, but she was smiling. He nudged harder. "Stop it," she giggled. She pushed him away gently. He barked, a sharp, demanding bark. She looked at me. "Liam, tell him to stop." I continued eating my steak. "He's communicating with you. You established that boundaries are negotiable. He's negotiating. He's being annoying. He's begging. You trained him to be close to the food source." She threw a piece of gristle to the floor to shut him up. I noted it. She just paid him for the barking. The behavior was now reinforced. Day 17 brought the sleeping issue. We had a strict no dogs in the bedroom rule. It was a hygiene issue for me, but also a territory issue. The bedroom is the primary resource. I woke up at 2 a.m. There was a weight between us. Otto had nosed the door open and climbed into the bed. He was sprawled across the duvet, pressing Rachel to the edge and kicking me in the shin. I sat up. Rachel groaned. "Let him stay. He's scared of the wind." "He's not scared," I said. "He's expanding his territory. Just go back to sleep." I got out of bed. "Where are you going?" she mumbled. "Guest room." "Liam, come on. I don't sleep with animals. You made the choice. I'm making mine." I slept in the guest room. I slept well. She slept poorly. I heard her up 3 times letting him out because he wouldn't settle. The dynamic shifted. The dog realized I was a non-combatant. He stopped looking at me for cues. He focused entirely on her. But because she gave command she never enforced, down, no, stop. He viewed her as a resource, not a leader. He started jumping on her when she came home. Not a cute jump. A 70-pound slam into her chest. I watched from the kitchen as she struggled to get her coat off, the dog nipping at her sleeves. "Ow! Otto down. Liam, help me." I leaned against the counter. "Turn your back on him. Deny the attention. He's hurting me." You taught him that physical contact yields attention. You have to untrain it. Grab his collar. If I grab his collar, I save you from the consequence. If I save you, you don't learn, and neither does he. She fled to the bathroom and slammed the door. Otto scratched the wood for 20 minutes. I sat on the couch, the one I was no longer allowed to protect, and read my book. The breakdown in the house mirrored a breakdown I was managing at work. We had a subcontractor pouring concrete who kept adding water to the mix to make it flow easier. I warned him. He ignored me. I fired him. Rachel, however, was a partner, not an employee. I couldn't fire her. I could only let the concrete set and show her the cracks. Week 3 was the dinner party. Rachel invited 2 couples over. I advised against it. The dog is not socialized for crowds anymore, I said. He loves people, she insisted. The evening was a humiliation. Otto stole a block of brie from the coffee table. When Rachel tried to retrieve it, he growled. The room went silent. He's just possessive over cheese. Rachel laughed nervously. Bad boy. She didn't take the cheese. She let him eat it. Later, he humped the leg of her friend, Sarah, relentlessly. Rachel tried to pull him off by the collar. He snapped at her hand. I sat in the armchair, drinking my scotch. Liam, do something, she hissed, her face bright red. He's resource guarding, I said calmly to the room. And he's overstimulated. He needs to be crated. Then crate him. I can't. If I command him, and he ignores me, because you've eroded the command structure, I have to physically force him. That will look violent. I won't do that in front of guests. She ended up dragging him by the harness, sliding across the floor while he barked and thrashed. She locked him in the laundry room. He howled for the next 2 hours. The guests left early. You embarrass me, she said later, cleaning up the wine glasses. The dog embarrassed you. I just declined to participate in the circus. You're enjoying this. You like seeing me fail. I don't. I like order. We had order. You traded it for a moment of cuteness on a Tuesday night. This is the exchange rate. She cried. I didn't comfort her. Comforting her would validate the victimhood. She wasn't a victim. She was the architect of the scenario. Then came the rain. It had been storming for 3 days. The construction site was a mud pit. I'd spent the day arguing with architects about drainage. I came home exhausted. I wanted a shower and a silent meal. I pulled into the driveway. Rachel's car was there. The lights were on. I opened the front door and the smell hit me instantly. Wet wool, swamp water, and the metallic tang of drying clay. I walked into the living room. It was a total loss. Otto had obviously escaped into the backyard. The yard was currently a slurry of red clay and dead grass. He had come back inside, bypassed the mudroom, which meant Rachel hadn't locked the gate or prepared the towels, and he had done laps. The beige sectional was destroyed. There were streaks of heavy, red muck ground deep into the weave. It wasn't just surface dirt. It was embedded. He had jumped from the chaise to the love seat to the armrest. He was currently lying in the middle of the carnage, chewing on one of Rachel's limited edition running shoes. Rachel was standing in the doorway to the kitchen. She looked paralyzed. She held a bottle of fabric cleaner and a rag. Her hands were shaking. She looked at me. I saw the desperation. She was waiting for the bailout. This was the moment in the script where the man steps in, yells at the dog, takes the burden, cleans the mess, and restores the status quo. I looked at the couch. I did the math. The professional cleaning would cost $400. It wouldn't work on that fabric. Reupholstering would be $1,200. Replacement was $3,000. I looked at the dog. He paused chewing, eyed me, and went back to the shoe. He knew I wasn't a threat. Your dog tracked mud in, I said. My voice was flat. Rachel flinched. Liam, look at it. I see it. It's red clay. High iron content. That stains permanently. We need to clean it. Help me move the cushions. I didn't move. No. What? I told you the furniture was off limits. You said I was mean. You invited him up. You prioritized his comfort over the asset. This is the result. It's an emergency. Stop lecturing me and help. It's not an emergency. It's a consequence. An emergency is unforeseen. This was inevitable. I can't do this alone, she sobbed. It's too heavy. The covers are tight. You made the executive decision to handle the dog. Part of handling the dog is handling the damage the dog causes. If I clean this up, I validate your decision-making. I won't do that. I turned toward the hallway. If you walk away, she screamed, her voice cracking into a high, thin sound, don't come back. I stopped. I turned slowly. I needed to assess if this was hyperbole or a contract negotiation. She was red-faced, holding the spray bottle like a weapon. The dog was still chewing the shoe, oblivious. The room smelled like a swamp. Is that an ultimatum? I asked. Yes. If you leave me to deal with this, we're done. I can't be with someone who has no empathy. Empathy. That was the word she used. She confused empathy with enablement. She wanted me to feel her stress and relieve it, even though she had manufactured it. Accept it, I said. What? I accept the terms. We're done. The shock hit her face. She expected me to fold. She expected the threat of separation to outweigh my adherence to logic. She miscalculated. The relationship had become a liability. The mud on the couch was just the physical manifestation of the disrespect for the systems I built. I went to the bedroom. I took my duffel bag. I packed efficiently. Work boots, 3 changes of clothes, toiletries, laptop, charger, passport. I walked back out. Rachel was on her knees, scrubbing a cushion. The stain was just spreading, turning into a large pinkish bruise on the fabric. She was weeping. She heard my boots on the hardwood. She stopped scrubbing. Liam. Her voice was small now. The anger was gone, replaced by the cold reality of the logistics. I paused at the door. You're right, she whispered. I shouldn't have let him up. I get it. Just put the bag down. Please. I analyzed the apology. It was reactive, not structural. She was sorry because she was in pain, not because she understood the principle. If I stayed, I would be the man who cleans the couch. Next year, it would be a dent in the car. The year after, a financial debt. She wanted a partner to absorb her chaos. I needed a partner who mitigated it. The lease has 4 months left, I said. I'll transfer my share of the rent tomorrow. The utilities are in your name. I can't handle him alone, she said, looking at the dog. You wanted him, I said. He's yours. I opened the door. The night air was cold and clean, a sharp contrast to the humidity of the living room. I walked to the truck, didn't look back at the window, didn't feel sadness, and felt the specific light sensation of a load being lifted. I started the engine, checked my mirrors, then merged onto the road. I had to find a hotel, update my budget, and also look for a new apartment. It was a lot of work, but it was my work, and that was something I could easily manage. Thank you for listening. That brings today's story to a close. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing. See you next time.